Hi there, students. This is a video that I've created for you to help you figure out what are the resources that are available to you through Quincy University's library and how can you access them. In this video, there's really special emphasis that I'm putting on electronic resources, since I think those are the ones that students are really most interested in. But I'm also going to walk you through things to know about interlibrary loan and checking out materials from Stacks and all of the other libraries that we're connected with that really provide you with a wealth of resources. So grab a pen and something to write with if you want to take notes, and I'm going to be sharing my screen so that you can follow along with me. So let me do that now. I'm going to share with you, sharing this. Okay, so you're seeing me and a browser that I'm using, and let me sort of just back up. I'm going to go back to Quincy University's homepage. So you can navigate here from a variety of places to the library webpage I'm talking about. You can get through the portal, and if you are on campus connected to QU's network, it will automatically pick you up and you won't have to do anything special to log in. However, if you are trying to access anything electronically through the library, from home or from anywhere that's not the QU network, you will need to log in and download some software so that you can connect virtually through a VPN. And that is the instructions for that are on the portal, and I'll show this to you now. They're super easy to follow as long as you can just download the software and follow the very easy instructions that the IT people have put out for us. You'll be able to connect and access anything in the library as though you were right on campus. So in the portal, which is my.quincy.edu, you'll log in as yourself. It's going to take a minute. These are the instructions, and they just pop up on the portal, and they're very easy to follow. So these are listed under the library's page with a button about accessing things from off campus. You know what? I'm going to just show you a different way. So the library's homepage is under academics, and then you go to Brenner Library. Okay? So here we are. Here's the library's homepage. I'm going to move my mug out of the way so you can see. Okay, so it's a pretty clean, simple, straightforward homepage, and there are navigation buttons that are down below that you can choose, and they take you to a variety of places. So usually you won't have any trouble figuring out which button applies to your specific research situation. If you're off campus, just click here and it will give you instructions on how to download that VPN client that you need to log in. Here's those popping up right now. There you go. So you'll go to the portal and just follow the instructions from there. Actually, let me drag over. I'm already logged into the portal on another browser. So here's where you come to. The library homepage resources, that PDF I just showed you, links you here, and it wants you to go to academics and then Brenner Library Access. Then this is what it brings up. So it links to Macs, folks who are using Linux and Windows, and then you'll just download that software, and then when it asks you what your connection address is, you just type that passthrough.quincy.edu/access, and then that's it. You'll just want to make sure that you do disconnect from the VPN once your session is closed. So there's that if you're accessing the library off campus. Pretty straightforward, but that's really all you need to do if you're not on the network. Now, if you're on the network, if you live on campus or if you're in the library or classroom, you don't need to do any of that stuff because your computer already detects that you're on Quincy's network and you have access to everything you need. So when you get to the library, let's just say, for example, that you're looking for something in the Stacks. You're looking for some physical resource, something that you can check out physically from the library. If you want to look through their catalog, I would click on Find Books, DVDs, CDs, and that link will connect you to a few different catalogs. Now, you can check out anything from QU's library just using your QU ID, which also functions as your library card. What a lot of students don't know is that in addition to everything that's accessible through you in physical form at QU and everything that we subscribe to electronically, we're also part of a really big sharing network with other Illinois-based colleges and universities, and we have access to all of their, or not maybe all, I think some reference materials are excluded, but really nearly all of those collections as well. So you really have a vast amount of information available to you. So if you're looking for something that's specifically on campus that you can check out that's in the stacks, you would want to click here and look for your items, searching by subject, by author, whatever you like. This will search the QU catalog only, and you can use this drop down and navigate and expand your search to iShare libraries if you like. But let's go back. The other thing that a lot of students don't know is that any of the other iShare libraries that are, and there are dozens within this network, any of those libraries, you can walk into that library with your student ID from Quincy University and check out any of their materials that are there. You can also return materials there. So I mention this because you're probably thinking, why would I care about that? Why would I ever pick up research materials from any library but QU's? Let's just say Home for You is near Knox College, and they are one of the folks, one of the institutions that's part of the iShare network. If you are going to be home for Thanksgiving break and you would like for your research materials for a paper that you're writing for the end of the term to arrive near your home, you can pick them up at Knox, and your QU ID is the only thing that you're going to need after you've requested those materials to be delivered there. You can also return your items to other iShare libraries, and you can also, you can visit them in town. It's good to know because we have other iShare participating institutions right here in our backyard. So let's say there's something in the stacks that you want at QU, but you see that it's checked out, or you see that it's overdue and whoever checked it out hasn't returned it yet. Maybe John Wood Community College, which is just a couple miles away, has that same resource. So you could see through the iShare catalog if John Wood has that same book or text, whatever it is that you're looking for. And if it's available, you just take your QUID over to John Wood's library at 48th and Harrison, and they will check it out to you as a QU student. You can return it to, I think in that case you would return it to John Wood, but I also imagine you can return it to QU's library as well. So it's just good to know. If you've not used interlibrary loan before, I would imagine that you would use it at least once before you graduate, and I think it's an excellent resource. The caveat is that when you use interlibrary loan, you really can't wait until the last minute to request your research materials. So if you get a prompt from a professor who says that you're going to work on a research essay for 3 weeks, if in the beginning of working on that assignment, you do some research, you find some items that you want from other libraries, maybe the University of Chicago, or maybe UIUC, or maybe SIU Carbondale, any of these libraries that are participating in the iShare network will be able to send you those items. And you'll be surprised how quickly they show up. Usually at QU, they show up in 2 or 3 days. Now, it depends what library you're requesting from, how long it takes them to pull your item from the stacks and to get it sent to us here in Quincy. It depends on a few different factors, so you don't want to wait until the last minute. If you need research materials, you can get anything you want from pretty much anywhere within this network. And all of the research materials that we have access to collectively are pretty impressive. There's really great materials that are out there. So don't settle just for what we have in the stacks and what we have access to electronically. There's really a lot more than that. Interlibrary loan doesn't charge you for shipping. Really, the only thing that you would ever pay for with an interlibrary loan text would be if you lost it or if it were overdue. But they are renewable, just like any of the materials at QU are renewable. So interlibrary loan is really great. If you've never tried it, I really would recommend that you try it. And I'm sure that you'll have occasion to do so between now and when you graduate. So that's what that interlibrary loan button is all about. The iShare catalog is allowing you to search through all of the items that are all available through all of the catalogs of the institutions participating in iShare. Now, WorldCat is sort of, I'm not going to tell you not to use WorldCat, but what I will say is that WorldCat is a bigger, broader catalog than even the iShare catalog. And I would caution you against using it because it will show you lots of wonderful sources. However, those sources may not necessarily be available in any of the libraries within the iShare network. And so it's sort of like making you walk by a store filled with all of your favorite things in the front window, but you can't go in and you can't have it. You're essentially window shopping. And so WorldCat will probably show you a lot of sources that are really enticing that you would love to use as part of your research process, but maybe some of those you can't have. So iShare is going to show you what is accessible. You can reach out and you can have it. That doesn't guarantee that the materials you want won't be checked out or won't be unavailable for some reason, but your best chance of finding what you're looking for in terms of a broad research project that you're working on, I would use the iShare catalog. So those are the ways that you can find physical sources and have those sent to you, whether it's through the QU library and you just walk in and pick something up from the stacks, you request something from another iShare library, you go to another library in person. So we've done a nice review there. Now let me back up. This is probably the part that you've been waiting for. Like, girl, don't tell me about books. Tell me about articles and things that I can just one click, boom, here they are. All right, here you go. Find articles and e-resources is your next destination. So this is going to bring up, again, a really nice, neat page. My internet's running slow. I'm waiting for it to catch up to me and just kind of filibustering in the meantime. Okay, here we go. Here's another button that you can click to access your resources from off campus, but again, we've already gone through that. So QU has electronic databases that we subscribe to and pay for. So the reason why I mention this is because I find myself having a lot of discussion with students about, well, why can't I just use Google? Or I found something on Google Scholar, can I use it? The answer is maybe. Just because it's on Google Scholar doesn't mean that it's really scholarly. And also, there are usually a number of items that are going to come up in a Google Scholar search that look good and are excellent sources, but then they want you to pay to use them. You're already paying tuition at QU, and QU is investing part of your tuition dollars in subscriptions to these databases that provide you with free access to all of this information. So I caution people against using Google Scholar for that reason, because you shouldn't have to pay for things that essentially you already pay for. Beyond that, the source quality when you go in to find research materials through Google, you're sifting through such an awful amount of internet crap. And so we find that the databases that we're subscribing to at QU run clean and lean. We only include certain publications, certain types of publications, and so you're really not going to have to sift through as much crap to find what you really need, high quality sources for your research endeavors. A hidden bonus, and I'll give you a tour of this as we get into a specific database, is that when you find sources through these databases like EBSCO and JSTOR and others, ERIC, often they will be accompanied by personalized citations, and so you can tell it what style you're using for citations. Maybe that's APA, maybe that's Chicago, maybe that's MLA, and whatever the style is, it will format a citation for that particular source that you can cut, copy, and paste, put into a Word document if you are keeping track of a working bibliography, or if you're just sort of barfing all of the citation information about from all of your sources into one place, and then you sort of whittle through it later based on what of those sources you actually use. I think it's a very good idea to do it that way. Google and Google Scholar usually don't do those sorts of things. So you're looking at building citations from scratch, which can be time consuming and also isn't a lot of fun. And the ones that the databases, the citations that are generated through these databases are usually quite good and really only need a once over to make sure that things like extra zeros or items that should be italicized that aren't when they're automatically populated, those are small little things for you to fix and will take you a lot less time than going through and generating a citation manually, piece by piece, for every single one of your sources. So a lot of advantages there for using these particular databases. Now that I've been talking about them hypothetically, let's use them for real. So as I'm looking at the landing page for finding articles and e-resources, you can look at all of the journals individually. You can see that we subscribe to so many. So perhaps depending on the specific course that you're going to be doing research in, there might be a specific database that really speaks to you and your research project or your topic. These are some journals and they're all excellent. English majors, this PMLA is going to look really good for you. I mean, you can tell looking at these e-journals which will pertain to you based on subject. If you're just doing a research paper and you aren't quite sure specifically what journal might speak to your topic, or you want a database that will give you information from a variety of journals and disciplines, I would look into multidisciplinary databases. And actually, when I'm at the beginning of a research process, I like to use these databases just because if I don't have a super clear idea of my topic or my argument or where I'm going with this, I'm just kind of gathering sources. I think these multidisciplinary databases are so nice and broad. They can bring front of mind aspects of your topic that you hadn't thought about before, help you find ways to narrow and sharpen the focus of a topic. So I always kind of like to start in a database like the one I'm about to show you. So in the drop-down under multidisciplinary databases, I would start with Academic Search Premier. And once you hit go, it'll bring up a search page, and it kind of looks like Google, doesn't it? It doesn't like to be asked questions like you might ask Google. So instead of saying something like, do vaccines cause autism? Okay, you can do this and ask it a question, but really what it's focusing on is each individual word as part of a subject. So it's looking for the word do, and then vaccines, and then cause, and then autism. So we have important words here like vaccines, cause, and autism, and it's returned 23 results, which isn't bad. And depending on what you search for, sometimes you'll find tens of thousands of results, sometimes you'll find very few. And if you're finding yourself feeling frustrated that as you are searching in these databases and your topic just, you're not pulling enough sources, you probably just need to tinker with your search criteria. So you might need to broaden out, use different terms. Is there a different term for the search things that you are looking for? You might just kind of play around with words and see if searching for different things gives you different results. But in this case, let's take a peek at the 23 results that we have. Now, we just did a simple basic search. Now, you can use these advanced search features, and that might be something that is a good idea if you have a fairly broad topic to really help you narrow effectively. I think 23 is something that we can sift through and watch what happens as we become even just slightly more selective. Since 23 of these sources, that's a pretty good number, but I don't want to look through all 23 of these. And I also want to make sure that what I'm accessing in terms of articles are coming only from academic journals, which means that they are of scholarly quality, and also that they are available in full text, because I want to do research in my jammies, and I want to sit here and not have to trek over to the library and find this journal in the stacks and make copies of the pages that pertain to me, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is surf over here to the left, and I'm going to hit Limit to Full Text. That means if I can't grab it in one click and have it as a source in my hand, I'm not interested. So now I've gone from 23 to 15. So 8 of those original sources it returned were not full text. Great. Okay, we have publication dates ranging from 2002 to 2017. This is sort of a subjective area, but depending on whatever your topic is, it's really going to be up to you to decide how old must a source be for it to be considered too old to use. So when we think about fields where we have a lot of new information and a lot of new research that's being done, maybe 10 years is too old, maybe 5 years is too old, maybe 50 years is still a-okay. It just depends. So it depends on your topic. I'm going to say that if I'm writing a research paper that is exploring any correlation, if any, between vaccines and autism, I want something that's no more than 10 years old. So now I've moved that slider up to 2008 to 2017. Okay, it's only knocked out 3 of those sources. And also, like I said before, I want to make sure that I have top shelf sources coming from EBSCO. So I want to make sure that all of the sources that I'm looking at come from scholarly journals. This means that they're peer reviewed. This means that no nutty stuff is going to get through here. You really have to jump through a lot of hoops, like flaming hoops, to make sure that whatever you're publishing is included in a scholarly journal. If you want to publish something in a scholarly journal, that stuff has to be peer reviewed, has to be carefully edited. Folks who have expertise in the subject that you're writing about are going to be sort of acting as gatekeepers here. That is not happening on Google, and that's one of the reasons why I encourage people to use these types of databases, because you're getting the best of the best. It doesn't get any better than this. And doesn't your research paper deserve the best? Don't you deserve the best? So here we go. Scholarly journals. We're going from 12 to 4. Okay, so best of the best, top shelf sources. And here's what they have to say. Okay, title, Vaccines Do Not Cause Autism. Pediatricians Fight Back Against Anti-Science. And that's from February of 2017. Seems pretty fresh to me. It's also available in full text. How do you access it, Professor? You just click right there. And it's actually bringing up the real source. And from here, you can email it to yourself, you can download it into your Google Drive, you can print it out, you can save it to your desktop of your computer, you can do all kinds of stuff with it. So we have all kinds of, okay, it's a 3-page article. All right. Now, sometimes scholarly articles will begin with an abstract. This is not the case for this particular source, but I will tell you that as you're pulling up scholarly journal articles in particular, look for abstracts, because they really can be great time savers. Sometimes titles can be deceiving. So if you're looking at something and trying to judge correlation just by title, you might find that once you've read the 1-paragraph abstract that gives you sort of a movie trailer of what the article is actually about, you kind of fall out of love with the source. Well, don't download it. Don't print all 30 pages of it before you realize that it's not going to help you. Just take a quick glance at the abstract, and usually that's a good gauge to use in terms of deciding whether or not it really is feasibly a source you might use and include in your writing, or I'm going to pass and keep looking. So in this case, we don't have an abstract, but if we just kind of give it a quick glance, I can't talk today, you'll be able to figure out if this is something that relates to your topic. So the other thing is, I'm going to move my head over here because I want to show you these buttons. And I just said that you can download and print and email these things. This is an important button. This one over here. It's this little gold button that appears to have something that looks like an equal sign on it. If you click that, you hover over it, you've already spoiled the surprise, and you've seen that it says Cite. And so if you hit that button, what it will do is bring up a dozen or more different citation styles, all of them citing this exact article in each respective style. So let's just say you're using MLA. Here it is. This is exactly what MLA 8 formatting would look like for a full citation for this specific source. And what you can do, if if you look at this, and I'm looking at this citation and it looks perfectly formatted to me, like I said earlier, sometimes zeros, extra zeros are kind of stuffed into these citations, or things that should be italicized or not italicized, but this looks great. And what I would do is just copy it and barf it into a Word document and sift through it, and then you have a works cited page, at least that started. Formatting looks pretty good. Sometimes weird shading things can be brought in, so sometimes you only want to import text and ignore the formatting stuff, and then just form the hanging indentations needed in MLA or APA manually. But really, this was a lot of typing that you didn't have to do, and a lot of putting stuff in order and little pieces and parts of citations. You didn't have to mess with that. And they're accurate. They look really good. Now, they're worth double checking. Let's take a peek at APA. Yeah, this one looks great too. So these things are going to cite themselves when you find them in the databases, which I think usually that's the carrot that students are, okay, all right, I'll back away from Google, because if you'll cite my sources for you, yeah, I'm in. Okay, so let's go back. Let's look at these other sources just to peek at them. Okay, so the power of a picture overcoming scientific misinformation by communicating weight of evidence information with visual exemplars. Might be a little nuanced if our topic is maybe just a general exploration of whether or not there's any correlation between vaccines and autism. So this one, okay, update on autism and childhood vaccines. Now this is from 2008. You might decide, depending on how you're approaching this topic, whether that's recent enough or not, but let's just take a pick. All right, so here comes another article. We're just waiting for it to pull up, and again, from this point you can download it, print it, save it, email it, throw it in Google Drive, all kinds of stuff. So, ooh, another short one. Okay. All right. We also see that this, and this is a great thing about high quality sources, sometimes one really great source leads you to another. We have the references from this specific article, and sometimes you find that it just, this one source might lead you to, maybe you check out some of these others that are cited within this scholarly article. But again, we can do a lot from this point. We can save it, print it, whatever. Let's look at what the citations look like. In APA, here we go. In MLA, here we go. And you can just copy and paste these into a Word document just so that you have them. Let's say, I always sort of over-research, so if I'm writing a paper and I need 5 sources, I'm likely to get between 8 and 10, just because as I'm writing and researching, a good handful of those I might fall out of love with, or just decide that it's really not fitting for my topic, or one source is sort of redundant, and these 3 guys are all kind of saying the same thing, so I'm just going to quote this one, and then these 2 guys I'm going to throw overboard. So if you create a works cited page using these citations that you've cut and copied into another document, how easy is it just to go back and delete the ones you didn't use, which is so much easier and less time consuming than writing your paper, getting to the end, realizing, oh, I have to do my references page, or I have to do my works cited page, or whatever. And so when you do that, then you have to go back into EBSCO another time and searching for all the titles to find these sources again and create the citations. If you just grab them when they're full and complete right now, you have them. It's easier to omit ones that you don't end up using, because all you're doing is copying and pasting a few more times. So I don't know, it's just my own life advice, because I've done this the easy way and I've done it the hard way, and I prefer to work smart, not hard. So anyway, this is just one of a number of databases. I think that the ones that we subscribe to are really helpful and easy. I will say that one of the best ways to figure out how these databases work is really not to take a tutorial from me, but really just for you to go in and kind of tinker around and play around with different search terms and look at all the buttons and what they do, and to figure out what you can find as you explore. So really just practice makes perfect. I would say spend time with these databases and try a few of them. We've only sampled Academic Search Complete here, which I think is an excellent starting point, but other databases function a little bit differently and will pull different sources from different places. So don't be satisfied with just one database, and please don't email me and say, hey, I can't really find anything on my topic in this one database. My instant question is going to be, well, why didn't you look at multiple databases? Because they're all right here, just all waiting for you to type fun things into the search box and see what happens. So anyway, I hope that this has been helpful. I've tried not to ramble on and on and on, and I realize that you might be familiar with some aspects of the QU library, not others. So I tried to be quick and comprehensive. If you have other questions, as always, please let me know. Just send me an email or a message in Moodle. And other than that, thanks for watching.